Hey everyone, TGIF to all of you. And today is, of course, Good Friday, so around 2 o'clock, wherever you guys live, you need to have a moment of silence. Um, I'm assuming it's about maybe 15, 10 minutes. I'm not really sure. All depending on where you are, anyway. But yeah, momentarily, you need to have that moment of silence around the 2 o'clock hour. Um, But with that said, today also marks, or if you want to count last evening and even earlier in the week with with the earlier screenings, if you will. But the earlier screenings, most officially last night and mostly really official today, Batman vs Superman has been released in theaters, and so far it has gotten such a mixed reaction that, according to a lot of reports, its percentage on certain critical sites is not so good. Some sites are okay with it. Some are giving it a mixed kind of like down the middle kind of rating. And other sites are like, no, this is not what we want. And I think I will agree that now I have not now first of all, let me make this perfectly clear. Let me make this perfectly clear, okay? I have not seen the film just yet. If there's by chance an opportunity tonight, this Monday, or whenever, to go see the movie, I'm going to go see the movie. Why? Because I want to see it. I want to enjoy watching this film. Now, with that said, like anybody that'll probably go see it, like anybody that'll probably go see it, um, now, like I said, like with anybody that will probably go see it. Of course, I want to hear what other people have to say, and of course, that means you're gonna end up watching and reading uh, reviews, and of course, you're gonna end up watching and reading spoilers. Because here's the one thing I want to say about spoilers. I know a lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't like them. I get that. I get a lot of people don't like spoilers. I understand that. But sometimes people will read spoilers or even watch people talk about spoilers, and their mentality will be, okay, that's how they feel about it. That's how they feel about a certain thing happening. Let me go see for myself and judge for myself if I agree with them or I don't. So one of the biggest reviews, of course, that came out recently on it was Angry Joe's. Angry Joe, of course, obviously went to go see the Thursday night screenings um, twice, apparently. Probably went to go see it back to back. And either that, he went to an early screening, so I don't really know. But it sounds like he went to a screening on Thursday evening. That's what I'm thinking. He probably went to a screening in Austin, Texas. Either it was an early screening or something. I'm not really sure. But I'm assuming that just like here in the Central Valley, he went to an evening screening at an AMC or Regal theater, saw it there, and then went back and saw it again. Basically, did what I did one time when I saw X-Men: The Last Stand, and I mean not X-Men: The Last Stand, but X-Men United. I went and saw X-Men United, X-Men 2, if you will, twice in a row because it was that good. Now, again, like I said, apparently, hold on for a sec. But like I said, apparently, Angry Joe, or Joe Vargas, like I said, he saw it twice. He says he's going to probably go see it a third time. Because sometimes if you do something like what he does and you have to do reviews for it, sometimes you have to see it multiple times, or at least back to back, to kind of get a better understanding. Now, I'm sure he's going to come out with another video after his third viewing of the film and be like, okay, this is what I took away from the third viewing, and maybe I was a little judgmental, or maybe I was right on the money. I don't really know. I don't really know what he's going to say, but if he does another video. But I will say this. I will say this. If he does another video, I'm not going to be surprised if he says something like that. I won't. I won't be surprised at all. Excuse me. Now, with that said, one of the things a lot of people like Joe have said in the reviews, in the non-spoiler and spoiler reviews and videos and articles, if you will, all have basically said a similar thing. And whether they liked the film or they didn't like the film or they were mixed about the film, basically they loved and didn't love it. One thing is for certain. They all basically say the same thing. And that is DC, as Angry Joe put it, as Joe Vargas put it in his spoiler portion of his review, his spoiler video portion of his review. Because Angry Joe, in case you don't know, is like Black Nerd and James Wolfe and Nostalgia Critic Doug Walker and his brother Rob. They'll do two separate videos. One will be a normal review, non-spoiler, and another will be a full-out spoiler review. Like, this is what happened, and we're letting you know what happened in case maybe you don't go see it. So, with that said, again, like I said, with that said, I don't want to give anything away from what I've heard or read, because again, I'm going to be one of those people like, okay, that is a surprise, or that is a surprise, or and I want to judge and see maybe if what they're saying is true, and I may or may not agree with them. But from what they said here, and again, not trying to give much away, but apparently, like Angry Joe put it, they blew the load way too soon. Instead of doing the right thing, and that is building up to this moment, or building up to certain moments, they decided, nah, let's get it all done with here. And here's why I think DC, not just Zack Snyder, because I'm pretty sure Zack Snyder may have gone out and said, hey, look, we need to save a lot of this kind of stuff for later. But here's why I think DC, Warner Brothers, Zack Snyder, maybe Ben Affleck, and whoever else is involved, here's why I think, even though maybe Ben and Zack and some others may have argued, hey, let's save some of this stuff for later films, and DC and Warner Brothers are like, no, we got to put it in now. Here's why they did this. It's because I said this before. I think I said this before when I talked about this in a video in an article, in a video I talked about when this was first announced, when this movie was first announced. When this movie was first announced, I said in my video that I believe they were going to build up to a Death of Superman storyline. Well, they built up to it. All right, they built up to it in this film. Yeah. Basically, not to give much away for anybody that's probably seen it already, or probably have heard what Joe Vargas or Chris Tuckman or Jeremy Johns has had to say. And I'm sure Linkara, Louis Lumberg, Linkara, Lewis, if you will, and Vega will have something to say about it. But I will say this. I'm sure all of them are going to say the same, similar situations. But to me, I do agree with I do agree with Angry Joe and maybe a lot of people. DC should have built this. You could have done this movie, no doubt. You could have done this movie, but you could have also done it in a way where you didn't have to do what you did with Superman. You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do what you did with Superman towards the end of this film, according to what a lot of people have said that have seen it. You could have waited on that. But here's why they did it. And this is my opinion. This is my opinion, okay? This is my opinion. The reason DC did this is not because they want to catch up to Marvel. It's not because they feel, hey, you know, we could be just as good as Marvel. It's not. It's none of that. It's not just all. Okay, it's not just all of that. It's not just all of that. What it is mostly is DC, even before Marvel really started to step up its game in 2007 with Iron Man and so on. DC, in a sense, during that run, was the undisputed king of movies. The Batman movies, like I said, the Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale Batman movies were some of the best they've done. You know, Dark Knight, I think it was the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight basically was an exception. It got nominated for Best Picture. What does that tell you? Heath Ledger, the late Heath Ledger, won for Best Supporting. I think it was a Best Supporting Actor. So, in his portrayal of as the Joker. So, you put yourself in DC's shoes, and you realize, well, wait a minute. We're getting our butts kicked now by Marvel. Marvel's basically unseated us, as the kings of movie adaptations of comic books. We need to find a way to get that throne back. We need to find a way to unseat them. So so basically what they're planning, so basically what they did here towards the end of this movie was basically say, hey, Marvel, you've had since 2007, you've teased it. You've had all these opportunities to kill off Iron Man in either his movies or the Avenger movies. Same with Captain America, maybe even Hulk, maybe even Hawkeye. That you had all these opportunities, even Black Widow. But mostly with characters like Iron Man, Hulk, and Captain America, you've had your opportunities, yet you've never taken a shot at them. You've never had the balls, if you will, and then Angry Joe puts this in the subtitle during his spoilers video, never had the balls to kill off one of your main leads. And DC's like, well, you know what? Well, DC's are like, well, you know what? You don't have the balls to do that. We have the balls to do something you never thought we would do in a Superman or Batman film, and we did it. So basically now, balls in your court, if you will. Marvel, can you top us? And I think, to me, that's the reason DC did what they did, towards the end of this film. They basically, in their opinion, their mind, fired the biggest shot in this war, saying, hey, look, we did something you guys don't have the courage to do to Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, or Thor. We did this. It's like, it's your move. And Marvel, in my opinion, they're probably looking at this and thinking, and this is my opinion, I think Marvel's looking at what DC did here, and they're like, seriously, guys? So this is how you're going to unseat us? You're basically taking three different stories and you're adapting them and changing them up in one. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Because there are certain things that I read about. There are certain things that Joe and Jeremy Johns and others have talked about that pretty much tells you it's a mixed bag of certain story elements. And what is that mixed bag of story elements? Quite simple. You have the Dark Knight Returns and you have Superman Doomsday. Those are the two major elements there. Now, there is another story adaptation, I'm pretty sure, from the comics that was thrown in there as well. I think it's the whole can we trust Superman kind of deal. So they throw all that in there. And they throw in that classic Superman versus Lex Luthor deal. So, they throw all this in here. And for what reason? For what reason? I'll tell you the reason. The reason being that they want to basically catch up with Marvel as quickly as possible so they can unseat them. That's why they did what they did with Superman at the end. That's why there's a lot of similarities to Dark Knight Returns. That's why, you have Doomsday thrown in there. That's why you have all this stuff. And that's why it does hint a little bit at times to something like Injustice or something like Crisis on Infinite Earths or Infinite Crisis or whatever it's called. That's why it seems very similar to some of those situations, because basically DC's taking those story elements from Injustice, the Injustice game in comic, the Dark Knight Returns, and the Superman Doomsday arc. They're taking all these and saying, hey, we're going to take 3 stories, maybe 4, like I said, depending on whether or not there is a bit of Infinite Earth or prelude or alluding to an Infinite Earth arc there. They're pretty much saying, hey, look, we're going to take these 3 stories that our competition would take their time, would take too long to make, and people would get impatient and stuff like that. We're going to take them, we're going to merge them together into one story. And oh, by the way, we're going to take the ending of The Dark Knight Returns, where supposedly Batman dies, but then it's revealed, and this is spoilers for nobody that's seen it, so I apologize. Where supposedly Batman dies, but in the end it's revealed he's still alive because it was more of a fake out, so he can finally, really be in hiding without anybody knowing he's still out there. To me, they took all that, especially that ending, merged it together, and then they took the ending of Dark Knight Returns with Batman, Bruce Wayne dying, and they basically changed it up to where, well, let's just say you would have to see the film to understand what I'm saying, and I'm pretty sure you do, because the way it happened, because especially the funeral and the ending, according to what Angry Joe, Jeremy Johns, anybody else has talked about in spoilers and stuff, in reviews, pretty much it's that. And again, I understand a lot of people. I mean, heck, they even throw in a bit of Flashpoint paradox into this. So there's another story arc merged all in together, basically. So you have about maybe 4 to 5 different you have 4 to 5 different story arcs from DC's comic book library, all mixed in together into one movie because DC didn't want to do what a lot of people felt was the right thing, and that's take their time. True, it would have taken a little longer to get to a Justice League movie, but it would have been worth it. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. Now, I'm not here to review or judge it or anything like that. I'm just going by what people have said and read. And yes, I did say on Facebook, don't believe everything people say or read. I take Angry Joe's review and his spoilers very seriously because the guy's an avid, realistic, avid, Superman fan. So I take his reviews, with very seriously, like anybody would take. But like I'm saying, basically, they. What was I? Oh yeah. Basically, that's 4 to 5 story arcs that they're merging together instead of taking the time with and building towards. Even though yeah, it would take a long time to get there, but guess what? It'd be worth it. Now, my only assumption on this, and hear me out, is I think, in a sense, DC and Warner Brothers are afraid that hey, if we take our time and follow that Marvel route and start slowly building individually this DC cinematic universe, that this fascination Hollywood has with comic book movies is going to fade out. And by the time we get to our Justice League movie, that fascination is going to be long gone, and people are going to be like, "Oh, it's just another. Oh, it's a superhero movie. Big whoop. We've seen so many of them. Whoopee!" They're not going to care, and I think that's what Warner Brothers and DC. I think that's what Warner Brothers and DC are afraid of. They're afraid that if they take their time, it's going to get to a point that nobody's going to care about it. But if they take care of a lot of situations now in one film, and then start to build towards Justice League Part 1 and 2 with the Suicide Squads, the Wonder Womans, to them it's going to be like, hey, we took care of a lot of the majority of the stuff we need to take care of. Now we're going to hit this. Now we're going to go in this direction. And again, that's why you see story elements from Dark Knight Returns, the Superman Doomsday, a bit of Injustice, maybe some of Infinite Crisis, and Flashpoint Paradox, all in this movie, because of the fact that they want to take everything that is a major turning event in the Marvel universe, not Marvel, but DC universe, put it in there on the multi-universe, as they say on the packets, on the figure packets, take all of that and make it and merge it into one big conglomerate of a story so that they can get all that out of the way and focus on what comes afterwards. And all this is, and again, I'm just going by word of mouth. Especially, I can say this: Angry Joe. Anybody that's watched his review, his show, his YouTube channel, knows that he's an avid, if not lifelong, Superman fan. So you take it from someone like that, who is kind of mixed down the middle. It's kind of like, man, I want to love it, but I want to hate it. I don't know. To me, he's giving his honest opinion. Okay, he's giving his honest opinion. Now, again, he's going to go back and see it a third time. I'm going to hopefully see it this week so I can see it for myself and see if maybe it's as good as a lot of people say it is, or if it's mixed like a lot of people say it is, or if it's something they should have waited on, or maybe taken some elements out and waited on those. Now, there is an R-rated Ultimate Edition coming. Now, I don't know if they're going to show this R-rated Ultimate Edition in theaters before they bring it out, or if they're just going to make it an exclusive Blu-ray, DVD, digital HD release. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, the reason DC did what they did, the reason DC did the things, did what they did, and B versus F, Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, is because they want to catch up with Marvel as quickly as possible and unseat them from the throne that they feel is still rightfully theirs as the king of comic book movie adaptations. That's why they did what they did. That's why you see those 4 to 5 story elements from different story arcs in the DC multi-universe in this film. That's why you see it. So that's just my opinion on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. Check out Angry Joe's reviews, Jeremy John's reviews, Chris Stuckman's. Anybody that's seen it, go and check their non-spoiler. And if you are curious, even if you're going to see it, the spoiler review videos as well. Let us know what you think down below. Talk to y'all later.